Hello everybody, here's Anna, also known as Anna Knitter on Ravelry, Annalena Knitter on Instagram, and you can find me, my website at annaknitter.com. So this is a knitting and crocheting podcast, and my last podcast is approximately a little bit more than 2 months ago. And many of you were worried and you reached out to me and you were so sweet. Thank you so much. But there was no reason to be worried. I'm feeling fine again. But there wasn't something wrong. It is a very pleasant surprise for you maybe that I am pregnant. And you know what comes along with pregnancy? Morning sickness. And I don't know who came up with the idea to call that morning sickness, because I felt sick the entire day. And now that I'm into the second trimester, I'm feeling so much better. I'm having more energy again. I am not feeling sick anymore. You know, other symptoms come and go during the pregnancy and the different stages of pregnancy. But now it's so much easier to live my everyday life. So you can imagine how happy my husband and I are. We were wishing and praying for a baby for years now, and some of you might remember that we experienced a loss 2 years ago. So this is extra special to us, and I'm feeling a little bit more confident talking about the pregnancy now that the most insecure trimester is how can I say it, is over now, and we are in the second trimester. I'm feeling fine and I'm able to knit again. So when I found out I was pregnant, I immediately started to knit and crochet for the baby, and it was good. Because I would say after approximately 2 weeks or so, I couldn't look at knitting without getting sick. So I was feeling sick all the time, but only thinking about knitting made me feel sick. And I don't know why. A friend of mine told me she knows someone who got sick only by looking at something in the color orange. So being pregnant is a crazy ride as far as I have experienced it now. And a friend of mine is pregnant too. I told this in the last episode. I was making a baby blanket. I will show you today for her. And we are chatting back and forth about, which symptoms do you have today? So it's funny. It's definitely funny and crazy. And we are looking forward to this baby so much. So to get to know this baby so much. And so I will be due sometime in October, November, approximately. You know, the calculated date of birth is useless. I think 2% of the babies are born on that day the doctor calculated, and so I only give you the range. So it will be a autumnal baby, which is amazing because it's my favorite season of all. Yeah, and now I would say let's start with finished objects. Okay, I have a lot to show you because I was knitting before I got sick quite a bit, and now that my sickness is gone, I was catching up with knitting and crocheting. So although I wasn't knitting for I don't know, 6 weeks or so, or maybe even 8 weeks, I have lots to show you. Finished objects. I don't even know where to start. Let me show you 2 finished objects which aren't knit by me. I received them as a present. So from my parents, baby boots. A friend gifted them these baby boots to them so they could give them to me. They are handmade by a lady, I don't know. And here is a pair of baby boots a former co-worker from the pro-life organization gifted me. So we have 2 baby boots already. That's good. And then I have let's finish maybe the baby stuff first. So when I found out I was pregnant, I think the first thing I knit was a baby vertebrae, this one. I tried to keep the colors as neutral as possible because we don't know if it's a boy or a girl yet. Hopefully we will find out soon. Let me see. It's the baby vertebrae is a pattern I wrote down by Kelly van Niekerk. Is that possible? The main color you see here is Tiny Human Knits, and the colorway is called Caramel Drizzle. I received this as a present from someone years ago. I really like that, and I have much left over, so I can make something according, or is it according or matching probably in the future. This is the size 0 to 3 months, so it's the second size of the pattern. The first size is newborn, but it looks quite small to me, so we will see. We will see. And the contrasting color, this pretty golden looking color, is Malabrigo Ochre, Malabrigo Sock Ochre 803. And this is so cute. So I know this pattern for very long already, and I considered making it for several people before, but I was never sure if this is a practical knit because it doesn't have a front side to keep the baby warm. But I asked a knitting friend, and she said, oh no, that's what you want because they are spitting a lot, and the front side of hand knits usually get very so felted very quickly due to the spitting and so on. So you can always lay something over it, or you know, the babies wear more layers than only this, so the baby will be warm. Yeah, and this is very, very cute. So I have the contrast color on the cuffs and the entire hem. And I love this colorway. The funny thing is, shortly before I found out that I am pregnant, I got out all of my singles merino sock yarn skeins, and I decided to make a granny stripe blanket, similar to the blanket that I received for Make and Pray I showed you in the last video. And I arranged all the colors, and I created kind of a gradient and so on, and I was so pleased, and I was going to cake up the things, and I think this one was one of them. I kept this for many years now because I love this colorway so much. It's so pretty, I love this. And I thought, okay, Anna, you won't use it for anything else, just make it into a blanket. Thankfully I did not. This the same, and I always thought this would look so amazing together. And now our baby will have a tiny little cute cardigan, the baby vertebrae. The needle size I used, if you are interested, I used 3mm needles. And this is a very quick knit because it's a baby size and it's very much fun. A lot of stockinette. I love knitting stockinette. Great. I also knitted, second finished object, oh wait, a matching hat. So this is the Beloved bonnet. I knit this before already. It is written for DK weight yarn. So I held the Malabrigo sock double, and I have some mistakes in here. I will show you. For example, here you see this is a mistake, and here in the I-cord this is a mistake. I would say my excuse is a pregnancy brain. And I remember I was laying on the sofa. I was quite exhausted, but I wasn't feeling sick yet. So I ripped back not quite often, but more often than usual. And then I decided, you know what, no, because it's not so easy to rip that back. It's the back side of the bonnet. The baby will lay down. No one will notice it. and it's so cute. I did the strings here much longer than the pattern suggested, because, so not too long, so that it's not a hazard for the baby, but I think the length of the pattern isn't useful, so I couldn't make a bow. And I did this with my first bonnet as well. Let me see. Beloved Bonnet is a free pattern by Tincanknits. I used, what did I use? 3 or 3.5 millimeter needles. I'm sorry, I'm not sure anymore. And yeah, I told you what the yarn is already. And to complete the set, the third finished object, I don't only have baby stuff, no worries, but I want to show you the baby things first. The next finished object is, do I have it here on my... No, I didn't write it down. It's the Hosenmatz. It's a German word, Hosenmatz. It's a very cute German word. Out of Opal yarn. This is I think this is brown or rust or something, and it is discontinued already. I had this in my stash for quite some time. And this is the second size as well. So I think 0 to 3 months as well. I used 2.5 millimeter needles. And I don't know how much yarn I used, to be honest. I think half a skein, maybe 50 gram. Maybe, no, maybe more. I don't know. I'm sorry, I don't know. It's a very well written pattern, and it's a very standard pattern. Many people have knit this already. There are many projects on Ravelry. Many people said this is very good for babies with cloth diapers. We will use cloth diapers, and they need a little bit more room in the pants, in the trousers. Many trousers are made for Pampers, so you know, the one-time use diapers, and it can be problematic with cloth diapers. So I thought, great, this is big enough, and here this is for the belly. So the belly is warm, and I think it fits this very well. Yeah, I told you, 2.5 millimeter needles. I didn't do any modifications. It is very easy. I often glanced at this pattern when someone told me they get a baby. But I never wanted to risk to knit this, because I thought, okay, it's a German pattern. And then this construction, you have to seam it here. And you know, I don't know how you call it, like the gusset in a sock. I wasn't sure if I will make it good and if it will work, so I thought, now finally I can try it for my own baby. Yeah, and it's so cute. Very much fun. Hosenmatz. Everything I talk about I will link in the description box below. Okay? And probably I will link the Ravelry project pages as well. I try to be better with the Ravelry project pages from now on, because it's also a very helpful resource for myself if I want to re-knit something. But at least you can find the patterns there, and needle sizes and so on. And the last baby finished object, yeah, is a crochet project. And it's the sheep called Frieda. This is Frieda. Nice to meet you, Frieda. And I don't know, as soon as my sickness was going away slowly, I felt so much inspired to learn something new, because I thought, okay, when the baby is here, I won't have the brain power for the next, I would say, 1.5 years, maybe even longer, to learn something new and to concentrate on something like learning to crochet amigurumis for 2 hours in a row, because there will be a baby needing me and I won't get much sleep and, you know, all that. And so I decided now is the time. During this pregnancy I want to use the time and learn some skills I always wanted to learn, and I always wanted to step forward in crocheting. And what I always wanted to learn was crocheting amigurumis. I don't know if this counts as an amigurumi, but it's definitely the same technique you need in the same techniques you need in amigurumis. This is a pattern from Etsy. So, Frieda the sheep, it's called. I will link the pattern or the link to the Etsy pattern below. I used 2 different cotton yarns. So I used Rainbow 8-4 quality. I have no idea what that means, by Hobby. Karina gifted this for me, but she wanted, I think it was from her advent calendar. She designed an advent calendar for me for dishes. And so she wrote patterns and she gave me the yarn, and I never came around to do that. And then I saw that this colorway is perfect for this cute little face. Yeah, and the white is a little bit thicker. I will show you the same yarn in another colorway. So this Hobby yarn has 50 gram and 170 meter. So it's 1.75 ounces and 186 yards. And this one has 115 meter. I don't know the ounces. So here it's 170 and this is 115. So it's a little bit thicker. That's the reason why it was a little bit harder to work with, especially because I had to do the bubble stitch the entire time. And this is a German yarn. It's called school yarn, because that is yarn we use in German schools, primary schools for example, when children start to learn to crochet, and it's 100% cotton. And I used a much smaller needle than the tags suggested. I learned that from, I have forgotten how she's called now. She was called Saint Petite Crochet or a Little Saint Petite Crochet or something, but now she's called differently. It's a big crochet YouTuber from the US, and she suggested to go down 2 needle sizes, but not two, so 1 millimeter, to go down 1 millimeter, I think that was. So if the label says 4 millimeter needles, you should use, no, I have forgotten. Pregnancy brain. Please explain everything with pregnancy brain. Well, well, we can find out. Here it says 3 to 4 millimeter. Here it says 2.5 to 3.5 millimeter, and I use 2.5 millimeter. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. And that's not all. It's a music box inside. So I bought a music box. It plays Somewhere Over the Rainbow, and I hope not to, so I will try to only show it shortly, because it takes, I think, 1.5 minutes if I pull the string out completely. So here it is. And over. That's Frieda. And I think Frieda is very cute. That was my last baby related finished object. The next finished object is a pair of simple house slippers. I have both pairs here. So this one I finished already many months ago, I think. This is the size medium. And now I finished the size large. And it's the pattern Temple of Knits. I don't know, did I write down? I used 4 millimeter needles, And this yarn here, it's called Moor Aase Raggae garn. And it's made in Norway, but for Sandnes Garn, and I think Sandnes Garn is a Danish company. I have this color and this color, and I will do the men's size, or the bigger sizes, so usually for men, in the blue, and then the smaller sizes in this yarn for women. And these will be my guest house slippers, because here it's common, in Germany it's common to put off your shoes when you visit someone at home, and usually we all have store-bought guest slippers, usually felted ones, for the guests, and I decided to make them myself because usually they are out of polyamide or polyacryl and you sweat so much in these slippers, and these are 100% wool. And so I only finished the large size, but here you see this in comparison, and I will see if I knit another blue set or if I should start first with those. It could come handy when the baby is here and everyone starts to visit us, because it's the colder season already, and we have enough slippers for everyone. I was going to make them anyways, and now I have a good reason to have a deadline. And the next finished object is my St. Patrick's Day pair of socks out of my own hand-dyed yarn. So I think I started them in February or so and finished them yesterday. I think I already turned the heel, so yesterday and today I knit the foot. This is my own hand-dyed yarn, as I told you, in my soft sock base. I had this color, so from here and here, as a mini skein in the set, so 10 gram of this and 10 gram of this, and this is the St. Patrick's Day colorway. It was the colorway of the month for March. I did cast on 60 stitches and I used 2.5mm needles. Yeah. Is there something else I can... No, I don't think so. I knit them for me, for myself. Now I can put them off the sock blockers. I don't think that I will need socks, hand knit socks, anytime soon, because the temperatures rose. Isn't the right word? We do have higher temperatures already, and I'm walking barefoot in our house now all the time. I don't need shoes or socks right now, but I'm sure I will be very thankful in autumn when I open my sock drawer and have many new pairs of hand knit socks. Is there another finished object? Oh yeah, the baby blanket for my friend. So I will insert a photo here or here. I finished the baby blanket out of this yarn. I have another cake of this and I want to give this away to someone. I thought it might be nice to start making some giveaways, because I am de-stashing lots of yarn and selling lots of yarn, giving away lots of yarn, because here this is my yarn room, and not only the yarn room, we have our tools and so on as well here, the ironing station and the drying racks and our board games, so this is, but lots of space is used by yarn, especially in this drawer. And this will be our nursery. I think nursery is the right word, right? Where you change the diapers and so on, and that will be the place, and I need the space here. So I thought it is a wonderful opportunity to make some giveaways and also sell some of the yarns. I'm doing that currently in my Telegram group, so if you are interested in Opal yarns and maybe some hand-dyed yarns on a cheaper price or a lower price, you are welcome to enter our lovely group, chat with us and knit with us and shop yarn with us. But this I want to give away. So what can I tell you about the yarn? This is 1000 meters It's 6 ply, so sport weight. And it's cotton polyamide, I think. Ah, here it says 50% cotton and 50% acryl, so polyamide, I think in English, I don't know. And I washed it in the washing machine on 40 degrees Celsius and everything was fine. And my friend received the blanket already. She is due in August, and I put lots of other stuff into the parcel for the baby as well. And if you want to win this cute bobble, we say bobble to this, I don't know why, it's a cake, but we don't say Kuchen, so we say bobble. It's an Austrian, oh sorry, it's an Austrian company, fairbobbled.at. If you want to win this, I would say let me know in the comments down below what you would like to make with this. And I will pick the winner and announce it in the next episode. So this is enough to make an entire baby blanket. But you also can make a shawl, a scarf, or whatever you wish to make out of this. And it's very much fun. All the color parts and the white parts are the same length, so they don't get wider or shorter or so. Yeah, so that's a giveaway. If you want to win this, tell me what you would like to do with it and I will pick the winner from the comments. And I will announce it in the next episode, so make sure to tune in to find out if you won the prize. That leads us to works in progress. Okay, works in progress, works in progress. I would say I will show you the one and only baby related work in progress. It's my Battenberg blanket. I spoke about this blanket already 2 years ago, and I told you that I can't show you this project because it was making me very, very sad. I started to crochet all these mini squares when I was expecting the first time. And you know, we lost our baby 2 years ago. And after that I put that away into the cupboard and I couldn't touch it. I knew there would come a day when I would work on it again. But this day didn't come until shortly before I found out I was pregnant. So the baby blanket for my friend was the first baby item I was able to make for someone else since our miscarriage. You can imagine it is very difficult to make something for other babies because it always reminded me on our loss, our baby, and it made me always sad. And after 2 years of praying and growing in faith, I was finally able to make something for my friend, and she's a very good friend of mine, and I was so happy for her that she was pregnant or that she is pregnant, that I decided to finish her blanket. So to make her baby a blanket and to finish the blanket. And while I was crocheting that, I told my husband, you know what, I will pick out our baby blanket I started for our first child, and just trust God that one day this blanket will be used by our child, if we get blessed with a child, in which way ever, so conceiving or adopting. And I couldn't even start. I finished the blanket for my friend, and I think 1 or 2 days later I found out I was pregnant. So that was lovely. That was lovely. And now to the Battenberg blanket. This is a free pattern by Sandra Paul. She has a big YouTube video about this blanket. And here is how far I am. I have still lots to go. So let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay. I have 15 squares width, and I don't know how long it will be, but all in all I will need a little bit more, or exactly 300 squares all in all. So 150 colored squares and 150 white squares. It's made out of solid granny squares, and I am doing the join as you go. So I crocheted all the scrap minis first, and so approximately 150. I think it's not exactly 150. I think I need a little bit more, but I don't know right now. But they are done now. And then I start a white square and I finish it, but don't bind off, or I don't cut the yarn. I attach it as with the join as you go method. So I only have 2 ends to weave in per white square instead of 4 or so. Yeah. I considered, before I decided to make this as a baby blanket 2 years ago, I thought I would make a Battenberg blanket in adult size, and I can tell you now, no, I don't think I will ever do that. It's lots of work. The process is a little bit different than the Cozy Memories, because the Cozy Memories is slower, I would say, but you attach it. You always attach without doing something fancy. But here you finish all the fun colored squares, and then you can't do all the white squares and attach them. You could do that, but then you would have more ends to weave in. That means you are always interrupted. You crochet a square, then attach, crochet a square, then attach, you know what I mean? And I think I would prefer to crochet all the white squares and then over a few days just attaching them. So that's the thing that makes me think I won't make it in an adult size. So I would assume a third of the blanket is done. Approximately a third of the blanket is done. And it's very pretty. All the different merino yarns. It's very, very soft. And the white yarn I use is Drops Merino. I would say it's, I don't know if it's still a fingering weight yarn or if it's already counting as sport weight. It's a little thicker, but that's the yarn Sandra Paul used as well. So Cherry Heart, her podcast is Cherry Heart podcast. And it works very well. As you see, everything stretches out nicely and you don't see the difference. I'm using different scraps, the yarn I told you, the drops, and for the colored squares I used 2.5mm hook, and for the white one and the attaching I use a 3mm hook. Yeah, baby blanket. My next work in progress is a Scrappy project I started, I think last year, and then I didn't work on it. Now I picked it up again and it's very much fun. It's my Scrappy scarf, and I stopped not mid-row, but yeah, let's say before finishing the row. That's my garter stitch lengthwise scarf. Here you see the fringe. I only have to knot them at the end, so I don't have to weave in any ends. I will shorten them for sure. And I'm knitting, so I have 350 stitches. 300 would have been enough, I think, but I wanted to make sure it's a very long scarf. And I'm knitting 2 rows of white and 4 rows scrap. And then again 2 rows of white and then 4 rows in another color. And after 30 centimeters I will bind off and have a scarf. That's it. It's very easy. I saw this in a video by Arne and Carlos. They used thicker yarn and not scraps, but I thought it's a nice idea for all the lovely merino scraps I have, because I don't... Yeah, you can make a merino blanket for sure, but I think it's even a better use to have something that's soft around your neck. And as you can see, probably, this is filled with minis, so I have enough to even make a blanket. Another finished object is a new cast on. I decided to make a crochet shawl for this dress. It's a new dress, it's a maternity dress, and I found a skein in my stash which fits this dress perfectly, and I want to be able to wear this dress as long as I can, maybe even into late summer or autumn, and that means I need some layers to put over that. And I decided to make a butterfly shawl. I made this butterfly shawl in the past already for Make and Pray, if you can remember. Here is a photo. I typed it, so I copied this pattern to... I wanted to give away this pattern to someone with a cake of yarn, and the original pattern wasn't written very nicely, so it's a free pattern. So, and the photo wasn't nice and so on it. So I decided to type it a little bit more clean and a little bit more easy to read. The original pattern is by N.J. Sharon and Debbie Adams. Yeah, I think you can find it on Ravelry, but if you type in YouTube butterfly shawl, you will find tutorials. And for this shawl here, I used 800 meter of fingering weight. At the moment I'm using one skein of this. I only have one skein of this color. I will show you the shawl. So. Yeah. And if I decide it's not big enough, I will make a bigger gradient shawl and use this afterwards, and then maybe a white border. So that's plan B. This colorway is by Dirty Water Dye Works, and it's, I think the base is Lillian and the colorway is called Sea Breeze. This also was a present. I received it sometime in the past, and I'm using a 3.5mm hook. If you're curious, I'm using very inexpensive hooks from Amazon, and the one brand is called Fusion, and this one is a backup set, and it doesn't say Fusion, but they look the same, feel the same, and they work the same, but they have a little longer, I don't know how this part is called. In German, I think this is called Schaft, so I don't know what's in English. This is a little bit longer, which was easier to use on Frieda because of the bubble stitch. So a little bit longer hooks are very useful for some projects. And I saw a tutorial, no, not a tutorial, I'm sorry. I saw a review of the Wobbles or Wobbles or so, you know, these amigurumi sets from Shark Tank. And she was reviewing that, and these kits come with hooks, and she was so impressed by the hook because it was Harry Potter themed and so on. But her husband, so she noticed that it's very grippy, and her husband he tried to learn to crochet with that. That was the main thing of the review. Can an absolute beginners learn to crochet amigurumis with these sets? And he was struggling with the hook, and then the Saint Petite crochet set, I don't know how she's called now. She noticed that the hook was too grippy and gave him another hook, and he was having a much easier time. And her husband has a machine which can analyze metal, so the softness and something else, maybe what the metal is made out of. And then she tested all her crochet hooks she has. For example, the Clover ones, the Tulip Etimo, then a high-end one, and this cheap one from the Wobbles set. And she found out that, as she has experienced, the grippy hook was very uneven, so it was badly produced. And the interesting thing is that the Clover hook was even better than the Tulip Etimo. And I know that many people swear by the Etimos, and I have never bought one because I think they are quite expensive. And I would love to see how this hook would look under this machine, because I think it's a great hook, and also the fusion hook set. And I paid, I don't know, maybe 15 euro for the entire set in a pouch with clippy markers, measuring tape, scissors and so on. So, just a side note. Yeah, that's my work in progress, and this will look very cute on this dress. I should have thought of something to drink. Whew, a lot of talking. The next work in progress is an old whip from Halloween. It's Opal subscription yarn from, I can tell you, September 2023. The first sock was already finished by Halloween, I think. And now I'm knitting the second one, just because I felt inspired to get out my knitting again, and I didn't want to start something new, considering that I had 9 whips on the go, and sock knitting is always nice. So I thought I would finish some things first before I start something new. What did I do? The pattern is called Skyppy Stripes. It's a free pattern on Ravelry. And I added orange and black stripes on the leg, 6 rows, then 6 rows main color, 6 rows black, 6 rows main color, 6 rows orange, and the rest of the sock will be in the main color. And here is the stitch repeat. The stitch, so the pattern goes over 10 stitches, and it's only, yeah, so it's only on 1 needle. So you knit a vanilla sock with a 10 stitch pattern. You can throw this on every sock you knit with every yarn. This pattern looks good on every yarn. Busy yarn, unicolored yarn, self-strapping yarn, it doesn't matter. It's always nice. It's a nice, a very easy 2-row repeat, 2-round repeat. And it's nice if you want to knit a vanilla sock with a little bit of interest. Yeah. 2.5mm needles, 2x2 ribbing, 60 stitches, opal yarn. The entire sock is out of opal yarn. And this will be a Halloween sock, because I see Halloween in this. I don't know if you agree with me, but when I saw the main color, I knew I have to make Halloween socks. And I think that is the project I will work on today. I worked, so I knit from, wait, from here, all of this today. I finished the first orange stripe and then I knit the rest. And I only cut the yarn, so I have to weave in the ends at the end, but I'm fine with that. I really don't trust all these methods. I don't trust knitting over the ends. I don't trust weave and steven. I tried some of these methods with swatches, and I don't trust these things. If you stretch the fabric a little bit, they always come out and poke out. There's another technique where you weave in, so where you knit over the edges, knit over the ends, but then you turn the end into the other direction and so on. But this is so time consuming. I would say you don't save time by this, and that's the only way I think this could work, because you don't only have the end in one direction but also in the other direction, so you can't pull it out so easily. But it was so fiddly that I don't think that it's easier or more time effective than weaving in at the end. And weaving in is not my favorite part of knitting, but I think it's part of the process, and it's okay. It's fine. There's only one last work in progress. And I think I have to pause then for a while, drink something and then come back. I started my Christmas blanket. I told you that after I finished my Christmas pillow, you saw on Vlogmas and in one of my episodes, that I want to make a Christmas blanket matching to that pillow. And here is the start. It's a Cozy Memories blanket. These two squares are from the same ball. And I have, I think, 6 different of these 100-gram balls. I have 12, but 6 different colors. And maybe some leftovers, maybe 2 or 3 different colors in addition to that. Leftovers, and that will be enough for making a big Christmas blanket. That won't be finished by Christmas. It's not the goal, but I love knitting blankets or making blankets in general, and I love Christmas yarns, and I have one crochet Christmas blanket out of DK weight yarn, and now it's time to have this Cozy Memories blanket. And I think maybe it's crazy, maybe I will regret it, but I think concurrently I will make another Cozy Memories blanket in exactly that style with the white frames, with my Opal minis and Opal leftovers. Because I started a Opal blanket, Memories blanket already, but then I made it into a pillow. The Christmas thing was from the beginning on started as a pillow, okay? I knew I wanted to make a pillowcase. So this will be a blanket, and I think I want to make an Opal blanket as well. That's my only blanket whip at the moment. Probably I will first finish my Scrappy scarf, and after that I start the Opal blanket. Probably, but I can't promise anything. I cast on 50 stitches, knit 10 rows in white. This is Opal pure white. So the whole square is 50 stitches wide or 50 stitches big. But the color part is 40 stitches. That's the usual size for a Memories blanket. Yeah, so nothing complicated. You can do that too. You don't need a pattern for that. I started the frame for the next square already. And I think, yeah. Here I have 2 different balls I can choose from. 2.5mm needles, 8-inch double points, Knitter's Pride Symphony, my favorite needles. I often thought about buying more high-end needles and sets and so on, but I enjoyed these wooden needles so much, and everything I knit, they are enough for everything I knit. I think if I knit more lace or for example bobble stitches or something, I would need sharper needles. But I don't enjoy using metal needles anymore so much. But I don't need them so often. So I think I stay with my Knitter's Pride wooden needles. And here, that's something I want to show you because I talked about my 9 whips I have. Now I think it's 7 whips. I don't know, do you count half-finished objects as whips? This is still my Lent sock. I have one of my Lent socks finished. I don't know if I should wait for the next season and finish it and be happy that I only have to knit 1 sock to have a finished pair. Or should I knit through all of my whips, if you count these as whips, and then having nothing on my needles besides my blanket and have a great feeling. Here is my Christmas mini sock, so the first Christmas cabin. The first one is finished, the second one wants to be knit. And here is my January color of the month, Baby It's Cold Outside, sport weight. And also the second sock wants to be knit. I don't know, tell me, what would you do? Would you finish the second socks first, or would you wait for the according seasons to enjoy the yarns during the seasons? Let me check my notes. I think these were all of my projects. Oh yeah, my shop info. So for now I can't dye yarn, as you probably understand. The chemicals can be dangerous for the baby, so I immediately stopped dyeing yarns as soon as I found out that I was pregnant. And I have to reconsider how and when to go on with the shop, because I have to take into consideration many spendings that go along with being independent in Germany. I don't know how it is in the US, but as soon as you are independent, you have to pay a lot of stuff. Health insurance, tax consultant, taxes, website, newsletter, and all that has to be re-earned through the selling. And so keep an eye out. First I will de-stash lots of stuff I already have. That happens in my Telegram group at the moment, because I closed my shop and on my website. The subscription ended. Perfect timing when I found out I was pregnant, shortly after, and I considered not to resubscribe, because it would be nonsense for a few months and then having to spend so much money for 1 year of subscription. That means I will only de-stash for now, and I think there won't be any new yarns in the nearer future. But I can't tell that for sure. I'm still researching and finding out all the things I can do, I can't do, and so on. But for now there won't be shop updates and so on. My favorite comment for this week. Under the last video. Do stop it now is the username. Wrote, "Thank you for showing your beautiful Lent socks." Oh, here, these. Haha. "And the St. Patrick's socks are gorgeous. You have inspired me to knit my socks with double points, and I'm loving the process. I have never truly liked the magic loop method, and the little circulars hurt my fingers after a few rows. But with the DPNs I can knit a long time. Love your channel." Thank you. Thank you so much. I always encourage my viewers to at least try DPNs, because I think it's the most enjoyable and the easiest way to knit socks. It's much easier on the hands, in my opinion, and on the wrists than, for example, 9-inch circulars. I don't have enough to hold on to. And the magic loop, I tried it several times. I just don't like it. All the shifting of the stitches all the time, and then they don't glide, so they don't slide over the joint so easily, and yeah. So if you have problems, if you have problems with these methods, try DPNs, try wooden DPNs. If you are a bloody beginner, start with bamboo, because they have the most grip, so you won't lose the needles so easily. And if you are intermediate knitter, for example, then you can try the laminated woods, the typical Knitter's Pride needles, for example. They are fast enough, but not that fast as, for example, Highers or so. Because when I started to knit with DPNs, I used metal needles, which were very heavy, and for whatever reason, cotton yarn, it was a nightmare. They were slipping through the stitches all the time, and I was throwing everything into the corner, shouting and cursing. You don't have to do that. Start with bamboo or with wooden needles. Knit-alongs. Yeah, we still have our Telegram group. I talked about it. Links in the description box below. And we have every month a new prompt. And this month, in May, we knit something for someone else. It can be a random act of kindness, a birthday present, Christmas present. It can be for a charity organization you want to donate your knitting to, whatever. At least it is not for you. It has to be for someone else. For example, my simple house slippers are technically for someone else. So I think that is, for example, something that fits the prompt. And yeah, the Telegram is a free messenger. You can use it on your phone, and if you have, after you have it on your phone, you can also use it on your PC, which is very nice. It's a little bit easier sometimes to use it on the PC. I like to have a keyboard I'm not so... I like to not always be on the phone. Like this. Yeah, and we have many threads there. So we have the monthly prompt thread. So then we have a thread for books, for recipes, a gratefulness thread we have now. It's quite new. So many people write in that thread what they are grateful for every day. It's a lovely community. I think we are 200 and something members in the group. And I do my D-stash there at the moment. The German word of the day. I didn't want to forget it. Today's word of the day is the German word for spring, because we have spring now. And the German word for spring is Frühling. Frühling is a very cute word because früh means early and ling is the ending of a German word you use to make something small. You know, something tiny as ling. Frühling. So the little early thing would be the meaning of the word Frühling. Yeah, and we have Frühlingswetter, spring weather. I already prepared the balcony and so I planted salad, tomatoes, many herbs and cucumbers. And hopefully very soon my flowers will arrive, and then we have decorational plants on the balcony as well. And I love Frühling much more than summer because it's not that hot yet. And now in May my husband and I married, and we have many national holidays. So they are Christian holidays, but they are national holidays, so everyone is off work on these days, and I love that very much. So we had that is only national, not Christian, the Labor Day on the 1st of May. Then we have Christi Himmelfahrt, so the Ascension Day, Ascension of Christ, and Pentecost 10 days later. Those two are national holidays, and I think Pentecost Pentecost is on Sunday, but we have Monday off too. We have always off on Sundays, but on Monday is national holiday as well. And that's not a national holiday because it's not, but we have Mother's Day and Father's Day in May as well. So this month this Frühlingsmonat, this spring month, is filled with occasions to celebrate. Yeah, and now I will pause for a while and then we come to Insta Knit Night questions. Let's answer some Insta Knit Night and other knitting questions. I would say we do 3 today, okay? How comfortable are you knitting around non-knitters? Very comfortable. I knitted during lectures when I studied theology. I'm knitting when I'm with my in-laws. I pretty much only know non-knitters. I'm very comfortable. I'm knitting on public transportation. Did I knit in the cinema? No. I do knit everywhere. Where do you get your pattern and project ideas? I don't know. I think when I started from podcasts, but now I think I usually have the idea, for example, oh, I would like to knit insert pattern category, and then I Google it, I look on Ravelry and so on, but the main idea is in my head already. Yeah, difficult question. Do you find that you have particular colors that you are drawn to for projects? Yeah, for sure. So when it comes to garments, blue and natural tones. When it comes to socks, the most fun possible. So bright, fun colors, for example, red and green and pink and so on. Because I wouldn't wear that as garments. So I wouldn't wear these colors as garments. But my most favorite color is blue. And I see that in my mini stash because the most leftovers I have are blue leftovers. You know what? Let's do 2 more. Do you mind when other people squeeze your yarn? No. If they have clean hands? No, not at all. I have no problem with it, because I am happy that they show interest in my hobby, which many people don't do. So I think it's nice. Do you tend to use the yarn specified in patterns? No, nearly never. I think I did this with my Malabrigo, was it Malabrigo Arroyo in Jorge Locatelli pattern, Feathers in the Wind. Probably it was the only pattern. Yeah, I think it was the only pattern. No, that's not even, or is it? Was it? Yeah, I think that was the yarn the pattern suggested, and that is the only pattern I did that for. So usually I use what I have, or I want to have another colorway, or the yarn is not available to me, or it's too expensive, and so I choose something else. And that's it. Can you believe it? I don't know how long this episode is. Over an hour, I think. So from now on, I hope I can come back into the routine. I always say that after these gaps, but these gaps always have a reason. So as long as I feel good and I can knit without getting dizzy and sick, and I think this should be over, I will have some things to show you, and then I will podcast. Probably we will see each other in 2 weeks. Probably I will try to get better on Instagram. I deleted Instagram from my phone because it was such a time waste for me, and I was doom scrolling way too much. Now I'm doing that on YouTube. I don't know if that's better. But not as much as on Instagram. I did on Instagram. So I will hopefully post here and there, but I'm most active in our Telegram group. So there I share my progress on projects. I chat back and forth with our friends in the knitting group. There are many viewers, so I think all of the members in the group are viewers of the podcast. It's lovely because many of them aren't on Ravelry anymore for several different reasons. And it's so much easier to have a community on Telegram than on Instagram, because on Instagram I post my stuff and then you can comment, and then I can comment your comment, but it's always so, you are very limited there. And you can't post in the comments, for example, your photos. So I think Telegram is so much better for a community, because then we have a big thread for the different topics. And you can post and I comment your things. So you don't only comment my things. I can comment your things, and you can share your photos, your yarns and everything, and what's happened in your life. We have a prayer request thread there as well. So we have many different threads. It's like the threads in a Ravelry group. So you can read what you are interested in, right? And you can, it's so much easier than on Ravelry, in my opinion. Yeah. Okay. That's that. Sorry for being away for so long, but I'm sure you will understand that I couldn't podcast. And I'm looking forward to read your comments. Don't forget, you can win this fun yarn to make something beautiful with it. Comment in the comment section down below what you would like to make with this yarn. And we will see each other in the comment section and hopefully in the Telegram group. And other than that, in 2 weeks, hopefully, here on YouTube back again. Bye bye!